If you're an online coach and you have the aspiration to build a business that's producing you sustainable revenue, maybe that's 30 grand a month for you. Maybe it's 50 grand. Maybe it's 100 grand a month or more. So that way you could provide the lifestyle for you and your family that you know you deserve, while at the same time making a freaking big impact in this world and doing it in a way where you're getting more pre sold buyers showing up ready to pay, as opposed to you having to go chase down people and it be very outboundy. I'm going to show you how I've been able to do it and how I've helped many other businesses do it over the last 5 years. And doing it in a way where you're literally using the words that are coming out of your mouth and turning that into a client generating machine using what I call the in demand system. And it's a 3 step process that I'm going to walk you through exactly how it works in this video. And this is so you don't have to post tons and tons of content because, like, if we're just being real, we're living in the AI revolution, the AI era where people can literally pull out their phones and find information in seconds. As creators, you can create information to put out there in your content in seconds. And so it's very commoditized, as well as not needing to chase vanity metrics to where you're trying to become the most popular person on Instagram or whatever, and even needing to learn new marketing strategies or tactics month over month. It's really just getting to the base of what actually works by using a skill that's been around since the dawn of time: communication. And I'm going to walk you through how to do it. And so, just to give you some quick context, I didn't learn this on ChatGPT last week. This has been over the course of almost 15 years of doing this. I started as a fat fireman. That's a story for another day. I was electrocuted in a house fire. And long story short, I ended up getting into fitness because I wanted to get myself back into shape. And that led me to becoming a personal trainer. I opened my own fitness center, and we ended up growing that fitness center to a base of 300 members and served thousands of people, had an opportunity to franchise. It was kind of like my dojo for learning marketing, for learning business. And then in 2019, I decided to launch an online coaching offer in the fitness space. And lo and behold, I didn't know COVID was coming, but I ended up launching, and in the course of a year, we grew the thing to multiple six figures. And some of the principles that I learned during that time from mentors and just from, like, literally putting in the reps and just getting data and experience are kind of the forefront of what I'm going to teach you now. And in fact, it was around 2021 when I had the first client come to me. His name was Leo. He's a health coach, and he was like, "Jason, how are you doing this?" Like, I became known within my circles of the internet, like getting clients, and I was mainly using a live video system that I taught way back then, and it's evolved, and I'm going to show you here today. And I was just literally pumping out client after client after client after client, and they were all coming pre-sold. And so Leo was like, "Dude, show me what you are doing." And I was like, "No, man, I can't. I'm growing this fitness offer. It's doing really well." I had a team at that point. I was like, "I'm all in on this." And then I really sat with it, and something in me was like, "Man, I really feel like I want to teach him this. Like, I feel it." So he ended up paying me about 6 grand, and I literally taught him. And he went from around bouncing between 5 and 10K per month at the time to jumping up to 33. Well, it didn't go right to 33. I think he did like 16K, and then he did 26K if I remember correctly. I think that's what's in the screenshot. And then he ended up doing 33K, and then he just kept growing and going from there. And then word spread, he shared it with another person named Alex, and Alex was terrified at speaking and all that stuff. But he ended up growing a coaching business, and this offer went viral. Ended up doing it about 80 grand in the course of about 6 weeks, and then it was history. I sold the fitness list, and I just went all in on this particular business. And that kind of leads me to today, because a lot has changed in 2021. And right now we're living literally in the AI revolution. In fact, Google has shown that there's now over 1.2 billion posts being published every single day on the internet. And I'm sure that's going to continue to grow. And so it's gone are the days when we can just like share content and like hope. And that's what most people are doing, is they're literally posting and praying. They're throwing out something and hoping that it sticks. Or they're trying to just go high volume, right? They're pumping out ad creative after ad creative after ad creative, or content after content after content, or DM after DM after DM. And they're just hoping volume kind of negates not having any strategy. And they're struggling with conversations and conversions. Like I was talking with a dude the other day, very successful. Like he had a business that was doing 50, 60K per month, and then it starts to dwindle down. And now he's like dropping to 25K and to 20K. And he's like trying to like just, he said he's like literally run 50 ads and he's got one client. And I'm like, what? What in what world? It's because they're missing what I'm about to show you here. And so if you're struggling with conversions despite getting engagement or running ads or whatever you're doing, I'm going to show you why. And then, of course, chasing the algorithm. Dude, the algorithm's going to change like every other day. You know what I mean? It's like if you're trying to chase the algorithm stuff and you're switching strategies based on that, you're never really able to build something that's foundational, it's fundamental. And so when you build your business on quicksand, you're going to always sink. You might be stable for a minute, but it's going to sink. But when you build it on a solid foundation of concrete, you're always going to grow. And that's what I'm going to show you is how to do it. And so again, kind of the old model. We can look at like 2023 and beyond that. It's like you just wanted to post a lot of short form. You didn't really need as much of a system, at least in my experience. You could do a lot of cold DMing and it pretty much worked. For every 100 DMs you sent, like you would probably book some calls. But now it's like you have to send 400 or 500 cold DMs to get 1 or 2 calls booked. And that's even if you're pretty good. And again, not to mention, as we talked about, this information is everywhere. Nowadays in the AI era, you need to have strategy. In fact, Google, I'm going to show you a statistic Google showed here in just a minute, but you need to have more of an ecosystem so people can consume longer form content from you. You want to have a bit more of an integrated approach to where you're leveraging things like social media, email, long form content, and you want to be able to build demand. It's not just about posting content, it's about building demand. And you want to make sure that you're building systems around your marketing and around your sales so you're actually able to grow and scale to these bigger numbers. And so the rule here, and this is the study that Google has shown, they call it the 7-11-4 formula, where they say you need to consume 7 hours of content, 11 different touch points on 4 different mediums. And that's how you want to start to engineer your entire marketing system. And I'm going to unpack exactly how I do it here in just a minute, because what they say is before somebody buys any type of offer, they must consume 7 hours of your content. And so in today's sophisticated market, the right content equals the right clients. And so when you put this in a nice flow, and I call this the in-demand system, the in-demand model, if you will, and it's where you can connect with your audience top of funnel, something like Facebook or Instagram, and then you captivate them more middle of funnel. And this is where I'm going to show you how to use like longer form content channels or even email lists. And then you convert them bottom of funnel. And I'm going to show you how I've used this live masterclass strategy to just convert people like crazy. And everything stems off of the DNA of your brand, stems from your messaging. And your messaging is basically how you say the right words in the right way to the right people so that you stand out in your niche and that you can attract more of your dream clients from your content and from your ads. And so I call it a magic messaging makeover. And this is where many people might have done like a avatar worksheet in the past and it kind of lives in a Google Doc, but that's not really messaging. That's kind of like elementary school type stuff. If you're already in business and you produce some, you've made money and you have clients, you got to graduate. You need to be able to create more influence with your message. You need to create better positioning with your message. Again, I look at this kind of like the best analogy I can use. It's like if you go to Times Square in the middle of New Year's and the ball's about to drop, there's going to be thousands and thousands of people out there yelling and screaming. And that's kind of like social media right now, right? If you're out there yelling and screaming too, you might get a couple heads to turn, but you're not going to actually get that much attention. You might run around naked and you might get a little attention for a minute. That's kind of like going viral, but it's not truly enough to move the needle. But in that same scenario, if you had a dog whistle and you blow it, the only things that are going to turn are probably dogs. And that's kind of like what you want to do in your marketing right now is you want to have a dog whistle so you're saying the right words in the right way and dare I say the right order and sequence when it comes to how you position your content in such so that the right people come to you and the wrong people don't even pay attention. And when you can do this in a way that also shifts beliefs, which I'm going to show you, you're going to get more people to respond to your content. In fact, there is an influencer, if you will, that I was in both were in the health space. influencer that I was helping had hundreds of thousands of followers and was barely scratching over 10K months. It was really struggling to like create any consistency. They were basically posting content, running follow me ads, trying to DM people, get them into a book call. And it was a grind, man. Like they were struggling. And then, mind you, I had a client named Treyanka who you could see had 6,100 followers on Facebook. And she scaled her business to, she did 80K per month in top line revenue, was the biggest month she did when she was working with me. And she collected around like 30 something thousand dollars in cash was her biggest month. And the thing was for her was that the messaging, plugging that into her content was the thing that moved the needle the most for her. Because you could say the wrong thing to the right people a million times and they still won't buy. It's like as if I went to China and I spoke English, no Mandarin, and I was trying to order Chinese food. I could be saying the right words, like literally, I could be saying what I think I need to be saying, but if they didn't speak English, it would be a frustrating experience. They wouldn't respond to me in the way I wanted them to. But if I learn how to speak Mandarin, instantly I can get my food. And so it's kind of like that with your content. It's like if you learn how to, you might be thinking you're saying the right words, but if you're blending in, if your audience isn't resonating with it, if it's not truly connecting with them, they're never going to respond to your call to actions. And this is one of the biggest things that changed for Trianka. And this is when she sent me this DM where she was like, "We did it, coach. I made my first $30,000 month. You changed my life and your business." And it was all uphill for her. There's a funny line from one of my favorite movies as a kid, Rush Hour, where Chris Tucker goes to Jackie Chan. "Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?" No, your audience doesn't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth if you're not consistently getting clients. And so we want to fix that. So this is a little matrix that I teach, and there's different parts of your magic message. And I'm going to show you a checklist, but basically there's different ingredients that you want to get down, and then you plug that into your content. And so this is a little checklist that I have where when we do the magic messaging makeover with any of my clients, there's an 8-step checklist. We want to get what I call the dream client character. This is the specific person that you want to be able to reach. Not a whole niche, not a sub niche, not a quote unquote an avatar, but an actual dream client that we could tap into their story. What's that struggle story, right? The pains, the symptoms, the complaints, the actions they're taking, the limiting beliefs they have, right? What is the villain? What are they doing that's not working? We need to create a villain around that. This is imperative for any great story. In your marketing, all it is a great narrative. It's a great story. What's your unique solution? This is one of the things that most people get wrong, especially in today's age. Everybody's like, you can go to ChatGPT or Claude and it'll give you a stupid mechanism like the mom method. Stop. Don't do that. It's like you want to come up with a really unique solution that's going to actually connect with your audience. And this is one of the biggest things that I have to help a lot of brands come up with is that kind of big idea that they could take to market. This is what allows you to stand out in your niche. And of course, that transformation journey. Nobody goes from like, I'm 100 pounds overweight to have a 6-pack. There's a journey that happens, right? Just like nobody goes from making a couple grand a month to having $1 million business. There's stages to it. And so when you can list out that transformation journey from short term to midterm to long term, and you infuse that stuff into your marketing, it's incredibly helpful. Like Leo, right? I was sharing Leo. Dude, he didn't just go like from making 5 grand to 33K. He went from doing 16K one month and 26K. And there was stuff that we applied within his journey that allowed him to compound. So you want to be able to do the same. And then there's the 8 core beliefs that you need to shift. This is absolutely imperative. There's literally 8 core beliefs that if you infuse them into your marketing, you will convert a lot more people. I'm going to show you this here in just a second. Then, of course, there's your backstory. Your backstory is like, why are you teaching the thing that you're teaching? Like, why? Like I shared a glimpse into my backstory at the beginning of this video, but what is your backstory? Like, why do you teach what you teach? Like, I have a client who helps moms, and he's a dude. And so it's like, I told him, it's like imperative, dude, that you have a backstory to like, why are you teaching the thing that you're teaching? Like people want to know. It connects with your audience. It acts as a bridge to the problems they have to the solution if you know how to infuse storytelling. And then, of course, there's the subconscious buying triggers. Like, what are the triggers? And I'm going to show you some of these that you can infuse into your everyday posts, your everyday videos, your YouTube videos, your emails that tap into some of the fears, some of the aspirations, some of the true pain points that people have. And so here are some of the 8 core beliefs. These are absolutely crucial. And in fact, I did a full workshop on these and I give the whole playbook. There's a 50-page playbook that breaks down each one of these beliefs, how to infuse this into your marketing. So if you want to see the full playbook on this, just look in the link in the description and you'll be able to find a copy of that. And so the first one is pain. Like you have to infuse, especially more top of funnel, like Facebook or Instagram, your prospect, your dream client must believe that the problem is different from what they think it is. Doubt. They must doubt their current approach, whatever they're trying to do to solve their problem, and believe that it's structurally broken, not just poorly executed. Then there's the method belief, the desire belief, and the identity belief. These are a bit more middle of funnel. So when I work with a brand, I show them how to infuse this into their longer form content, their webinars, their emails, their video sales letters, things like that. And then there's the bottom of funnel beliefs. This is around like investment. This is around getting help. And this is around trust, like trusting you. And these are more like you will do in workshops or masterclasses or video sales letters. These will come up on sales calls. And if you can like overcome these beliefs before a sales call, it's going to make the sales call a lot smoother. And so these are things that I help I show people how to infuse. But these are all beliefs that you need to be able to get down if you want to get more pre-sold people, if you want to get more pre-sold buyers booked onto your calendar. Does that make sense? So once you go through that, you have your magic messaging down, right? You have a better message that helps you stand out, that helps you be able to shift beliefs, and ultimately it'll make your content, your ads, any of your marketing work better. The second step is you want to be able to deploy that message. And I call it the content triangle ecosystem. And this is where you can distribute your content in a way that connects with people, that captivates your audience, and that converts them. This will get you more inbound leads. And so I kind of equate this similar to the Bermuda Triangle. They consider to be Bermuda, Puerto Rico, and Florida. That's where I'm at. And where they say there's a mysterious pool that just pulls in ships and planes and all sorts of things into its kind of magnetic force. And that's kind of how a great ecosystem works. This is why I call it the content triangle, where you will have this invisible force that pulls people into your list, that pulls people into your world. And how it looks is you're going to always have a top of funnel platform. This will be something like Facebook or Instagram, or some people use LinkedIn. You will have a middle of funnel, like an email list, right? This is what we're always trying to build, is our list, the emails, the phone numbers and stuff that you have. And then you want to have some type of long form nurture channel. This is going to be to where, again, as Google says, you can get people to consume 7 hours of content. If all you're doing right now is just doing short form content or captions and stuff like that, it's going to take people forever. So it's like when I show a client how to infuse this type of ecosystem into their business, they will literally they will get somebody from an ad per se, or somebody might be on their list, and they will convert so much faster because they're actually having a world where people can get to that 7 hours of content faster. And it's not just about getting the 7 hours of content. It's about them consuming the right content. This is why the messaging is always step number 1. You got to say the right words in the right way, in the right order when it comes to this stuff, so that you get more of the right people responding to the actual content. And this is just another way to show you how to distribute it. These are different types of content that I've done over the years. Like there's like connection content you want to make sure is in the ecosystem. This is me like sharing myself at my daughter's kindergarten graduation. There's authoritative content, sharing social proof from one of my clients. There's conversion content where I'm like generating leads, right? There's influence content where I'm shifting people's perspectives. More conversion content where I'm doing like longer form master classes and such, which we're going to get into here in just a second. Because if you want to create predictability with getting high quality sales calls booked, getting people on your calendar, getting people to buy, you want to run campaigns. And so this is probably one of the most important parts. And this is going to lead us coming into step number 3, is you got to run campaigns. And all a campaign is where you have a strategic sequence of content that is taking somebody to some type of conversion event. And so you want to start every campaign that has a great hook, hence why the messaging is so important, and has a great call to action. So that way you can get people to respond. And the conversion events work best when they're live, especially now with like the AI era. Everything's so overly processed and edited and fake. When you just show up live to like a masterclass or to a workshop and you just freaking deliver and you know how to shift people's beliefs, you know how to influence, again, you know how to structure the content correctly, which I'm going to show you in a minute, you're going to convert people a lot more. And so typically a good kind of benchmark for this when we run these or when I show clients how to run these, you want to look at getting anywhere between 50 to 150 people to show up to your event, to at least register to the event. And this could, again, a live masterclass, could be a Zoom workshop, are typically going to work best. When you can do this and you can get some butts and seats, you're able to book a lot more calls in mass, in bulk. You can make sales from these in bulk. You could fill up a whole cohort if you wanted to. And this allows you to systematically move people that are on your nurture list. Maybe they're in your CRM, whatever, you have emails, you have phone numbers. This is how you get them actual value. And if you run a 60 or 90-minute workshop, you have massively sped up that 7 hours of content consumption time. This is one of the things that my client Kurt said, to where he was really struggling to crack that 30K per month code. And he finally did. And he was able to temporarily retire his wife. He bought a new home. And he said that this is one of the things that changed the game for him, is like having these content campaigns rolled out. So really, really crucial. And again, this kind of segues into step 3 is we need to convert the message where you could take your influence and it becomes predictable income for you. And so I've been doing this for years. This is an example for me back in my fitness business, to where I was literally running a live masterclass at my buddy's gym. And this ended up producing for me, I think at the time, it was my biggest month to date at that time, which was around 2020, end of 2020. It was like $34,000 in cash. And I've since done this like, I don't know, like close to 1,000 times at this point over the last 5 or 6 years. And this has been one of the primary ways that I've been able to book a lot of calls, generate revenue, and again, get more people pre-sold. And this is the framework. I came up with this framework back in 2021. There's been a lot of revisions over the years because there's had to be. But essentially, when you're doing a live masterclass or workshop, or really heck, like even a live on your Facebook or Instagram, this is the way it flows. And I would even argue, like if you're doing a pre-recorded video like this, I followed a lot of the same structure into what I'm even doing right now. And so typically you're going to have what I call the C1, which is going to be your chance. This is where you hook people in that first 7 to 10 seconds. You're going to get them hooked in. And basically you're like, why should they be watching? What's in it for them? That's kind of what you're getting at. And then you want to get their attention captured. So to capture their attention, when you're doing this on like a live workshop or whatnot, I want to have some type of micro win offer. And this could be like what you would consider a lead magnet. And so it could be a direct offer. It could be like, hey, if you want to book a call, learn a little bit more, blah, blah, blah. It could be something like that. If you have a good lead magnet or a next step for them, you can drop that there as well. But I always want to lead in with story. Okay. And so like having some type of story is going to be great because we're humans, and humans since the dawn of time have gravitated to story. And so a lot of times I want the story to bridge into the insight that I'm going to teach. Does that make sense? And so I would oftentimes tell like my story or a client story or a bit of a mix. And I might talk about, hey, this is like how I learned this thing, and then drop the insight like I did earlier in this video. Could be a client story. Hey, my client was doing things X, Y, and Z, and this is what actually works, right? You drop the kind of insight, and I've done this a couple times in today's video. And basically what happens is it leads you to C3, which is the core. And the core is where you're going to drop the big insight of the video, right? Of your masterclass, of your workshop. So in my case, I'm talking about your message, right? Coming up with a system to convert that message to get more pre-sold buyers. And you could tell stories. You could see with each point, I've kind of elaborated a little bit into a story, or I've used some type of analogy or metaphor. And then you could break down step by step, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Go figure. And then you could share a micro win offer. Okay. And then recap. So this is basically your CTA. So I'd be like, hey, if you want to learn more about how to get the in demand system plugged into your business, specifically by me, one to one, what I want you to do is shoot me a DM on Facebook or Instagram and say the word in demand, and I'll shoot you some details on what that looks like. Right? That would be like me giving you some type of offer right now, CTA. Or I could say, hey, if you want to go deeper into the 8 core beliefs that you need to infuse into your marketing, into your messaging, into your content, into your ads, so that you can get more pre-sold people booked onto your calendar, go ahead and click the link in the description below, and you can download my full workshop on the 8 core beliefs and the full playbook with examples and how to execute. Right? That's an example of a CTA. It's kind of meta because that is a real CTA. And then you would recap what you taught them, and then you have some type of sign off like, stay classy, San Diego, something like that. Right? This is one of the things I showed my client Patty how to do, how to use these master classes, how to infuse this framework. And she literally went from a brand new offer in the weight loss space to generating over $25,000 in a single month, brand new offer with it. Okay. And then the multiplier is, this is kind of a newer thing, but I've been able to outsource the majority of my business to a custom AI agent, and not like a silly chat GPT one or Claude. It goes much deeper. And so this is really key because for me and for a lot of my clients, I've shown them how to like basically take this, like everything they're doing from their marketing, having an AI agent basically run 95% of it for you, and then you show up live as the human. All you're doing is doing the videos, doing the content. So you're teaching, you're speaking, you're doing what you probably got into this business to do. Right. And then this basically saves you a crap load of time. And so again, if you want to go deeper into like what this would look like being installed into your business, if you want my help in any way, go ahead and shoot me a DM on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you hang out. Say the word in demand, and I'll send you over a document that kind of outlines like how this looks, how I work with people, and that way you can see if this is something that might be helpful or useful for you. Because many clients over the years have used this, from the health and fitness space to sales coaches to B2C kind of e-com. I've helped so many different businesses apply this exact same framework, sign up lots of clients to really be able to scale their businesses to, in some cases, things that they didn't even think were fathomable or possible. And I'm happy to be able to show you how you could do this as well. So again, DM me the word in demand on Facebook or Instagram, and I'm happy to walk you through exactly how this can look inside of your business. Hope you have an amazing day. And remember, your message matters now more than it ever has before. I mean, there's people out there that are freaking depressed. They're eating too much. They're drinking too much. They're living life well below their full potential. And you have a message, and you want to get into this business, right? You want to grow a coaching or consulting company for a reason. It's because you want to help people. Yes, we want to make money, and like money comes. Like money is a resource. The more that you can get your message out there, the more you can learn how to build it, how to deploy it, how to convert that message. The more you learn how to influence people, how to take that message and make it in demand, the more money you will make as a byproduct, the more freaking lives you're going to change. And so never be afraid to speak that message. Never be afraid to freaking step up and speak your truth, because it matters now more than it ever has before. Be seen, be heard, and be impactful.